What is going on, everybody? Mattitude22 back at you guys with my favorite video of the year. It is the top 20 of 2022. I know I'm doing this video a little late. I know, because I had to wait for a couple more things to come in. I didn't want to do the video without certain items. As always, bit of a different shot here because I don't have my studio, unfortunately. If you saw a haul video, actually you didn't, because I don't think I uploaded that video yet. Uh, Sorry, I've been a little behind on my uploading. Hopefully we're gonna get back on track. But I basically lost my studio. I don't want to lost it. I gave it up. It's gonna be my second child's room. So we're kind of working in the kitchen right now, and we got the little setup here. It is what it is for now. This is hopefully not the final setup, but I just want to get this video done for you guys. So we're just going to go through it. We're going to do the best we can. And as always, I tried to make different categories for everything. So, because I didn't want this video to be like all G.I. Joe or all Marvel or all NECA. I tried to categorize everything, like pick the best NECA, the best GI Joe, the best this, the best that. There are some examples where I included one whole company as opposed to a whole brand, and I'll go through those, and I'll talk you through those as we get there. So we'll go through those, and then there are certain ones where this just represents the whole brand, and it could be like multiple different lines, but again, we'll get into that. I rank them, of course. You know how I do it. I put everything on the table, and I look, and I'm like, okay, it's this one, it's this one. So we're good. We're gonna. So I thought my camera hadn't been recording this whole time. But no, we're good. So we're gonna go through it one by one. We're gonna do the countdown, and if there's any, I'll explain to you all the ramifications as we go. So let's just get into it. It's been almost 3 minutes. You want to see the figures? I want to show you the figures. Let's do it, baby. Let's start it off with our number 20. All right, and taking the number 20 spot, we have from the miscellaneous category, Caesar from Mego from Planet of the Apes. Now, miscellaneous is anything that is basically just a one-off figure where I'm not collecting any kind of line. It's just a one-off. It's just I'm just gonna get this character and he's gonna represent everything, and that's what this figure was. I watched all the Planet of the Apes movies over my Christmas holiday, and I was like, I want a little Planet of the Apes representation in my collection, and I got Caesar. Now, I know it's a Mego. You don't necessarily think Mego when we're talking the best figures, but here's the thing, it's not always about being super articulated or amazing sculpt. Sometimes it's just more simple, and sometimes it's more just enjoying a figure. And when I look at this figure, I smile. I enjoy it. The soft goods work great here, and that face is sculpted so wonderfully. If you watch the original Planet of the Apes movies, you know the practical effects were cutting edge, and they were something to behold. And this figure, the face sculpt represents that so perfectly. This figure just makes me smile. Give him the gun from the Steve Rogers Peggy Carter 2-pack. I think it looks better than the gun he came with. And this figure is just great. He just makes me smile, and it's just every time I walk by, I like to pick him up and pose with him. So I had to have him on here. He came out early 2022 / late 2021, so you could make an argument for either side, but I had to have him on here. He is representing the miscellaneous category. We have Mego Caesar from Planet of the Apes. Number 19 from Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Of course, that speaks for itself. This is my Power Ranger, my Lightning Collection representation. We have the Lunar Wolf Ranger. I was so excited when this figure was announced because, for starters, Wild Force, one of my top seasons. Wolf, probably my favorite animal. So right there, you're firing on all cylinders, and I just love this figure. I love the silver. I wish it was a little shinier. The sculpt on the helmet, just beautiful, and I love that they sculpted the claws. Nice paint work on his weapon, the Lunar Lance, I think it's called. Yeah, just a nice figure, and just one that I was thinking maybe we're gonna get this guy later, but no, they kind of dropped it, and I like that he's the first one for Wild Force. I just love this figure. I did have to have him quite low. I did have to have him on the 19 spot because, unfortunately, when it comes to Power Rangers, there's not a tremendous amount of sculpting, so I couldn't put him higher than certain things, but this is just the best. And I know Power Rangers, it's mostly always just the same stock body, but I just think this figure is so nice, and I love the sculpt on the helmet, and he's got the butterflies. I don't think he has, unfortunately, no drop down hips, but nice figure. Lunar Wolf Ranger, had to have him on here, representing Power Rangers Lightning Collection, number 19, the Lunar Wolf Ranger. And coming in at number 18 from the Mattel Elite line, we have, I think this is 89, Elite 89, Drew McIntyre. Now, this is basically, I just basically chose to have this represent all of wrestling. Unfortunately, I didn't buy as much AEW figures this year, so there wasn't really anything that was good enough, I thought, to warrant having AEW be its own category. And again, I certainly didn't buy enough to have them be their own category. But Drew McIntyre, this is a super just fun figure. Got the real face scan. I think he looks great, and I love the sword. I love the paintwork. I love the sculpting. And again, this is just one like Caesar. If you just look at it, there's not a lot that I could kind of say that, like, oh yeah, like this, he's super articulated, or like this sculpting is super great, or like this is really great. But it's just the fun factor right here. Like, I love that they painted on the chest hair. The paintwork on the kilt looks great, and there's just a sword, just the different poses you can get him in, different relaxed poses you could get him in with the sword. I know we had better articulated WWE figures, like we had the Ultimates, but there's just something simple and something fun about this figure. And you put him on your wrestling shelf with the sword. It's just a unique accessory. Oh, there he goes. It's just a unique accessory, and it's just a fun figure. And the face sculpt really sets him on the next level. And this is the first babyface Drew McIntyre that they did. I got a loose hair somewhere, and it's really driving me crazy. There we go. But yeah, Elite 89, I think. Drew McIntyre, he has taken the spot. He has taken the 18 spot, and he is representing wrestling as a whole. I like this figure. Face sculpt, painted chest hair, of course the sword. There you go. We're going to wind it down. Let's see who comes in at number 17. All right, number 17, we have a big boy. We are stepping into the world of DC Multiverse. Now this, I counted pretty much everything DC, which is pretty much just Multiverse. I didn't buy any of the import DC stuff. There was a couple that I was going to get, but I didn't. We have Frankenstein. Starters, new character, yes. Character from the comics, yes. Monster, yes. This is where I love when worlds collide, and sometimes it just works perfectly, and my love of horror interjects with my love of superheroes, and we get Frankenstein. This is a really fun figure. He is low. The only thing, unfortunately, he is, I feel, a bit too large. He is too large. I don't think Frankenstein is meant to be that big in the comics. Like, I think he should just be a little bit bigger. So that does take a couple spots, but he is such a fun figure. Articulation is pretty good for McFarlane, but the sculpt, I love the sculpt on the face. Just looks awesome. I just love this figure, and like I said, I'm a horror guy at heart. So anytime something kind of touches that horror button, you got it for me. And Frankenstein just does that. I don't want to take any points for not having the gun. I know there was nothing they could do there, and Warner Brothers is how Warner Brothers is. But the other thing, yeah, like I mentioned before, the articulation, it could be a little bit better. I know he comes with a base, but the fact that I can barely get him to stand without the base does unfortunately hurt my enjoyment of the figure. But overall, it's good. He comes with the cool sword, and like I said, it's a monster. It's DC Comics. I love it. Hopefully McFarlane round out the rest of Frankenstein's crew, and give us the werewolf and give us the vampire and all that other stuff, all those other DC monsters. Let's go. This figure is great. I love it. 17 from the DC multiverse, and I guess representing all of DC, Frankenstein. And at number 16, they might as well go hand in hand. We have Manga Spawn. Now, this is basically my pick. This is basically my pick for best Spawn, also slash McFarlane, because in addition to DC and Spawn, the only other McFarlane thing I'm collecting is the My Hero Academia, and there wasn't very many of them this year, and there certainly wasn't anything in contention for figure of the year. So we lumped that in with Spawn. This is one that I think was a Target exclusive, and I think he flew under the radar for a lot of people. I didn't see this guy popping up on a lot of people's countdowns, and I wonder if it's just because a lot of people didn't get him. But nicely sculpted robot. He's again, just like Frankenstein, he's as articulated as you would expect, but there's some really good sculpting. But the best part is there's so much customizable options. He comes with just so many different weapons. You get this, you get the it's more like a halberd, you get the spear, you get the sword here, you get the knives, then you get the sword back here. Soft goods cape. I know people, when they think of Spawn, they think of they then tend to maybe think of the big monsters more, and I don't have Omega Spawn yet. If I had Omega Spawn, maybe he would be on here instead of this guy, but again, I don't have him. But I like this figure a lot. I think he looks great. Again, if it was maybe articulation was maybe a little better, like I wish you could maybe get him more, maybe a little more posability, but sculpting is top notch, paintwork is top notch, and like I said, the fact that he comes with so many different weapons, there's so many different ways you could display him and customize him. And for me, this was the best McFarlane figure. This was the best Spawn figure. So, I had to have him on here. So, again, he is quite low because the paint, although it is good, like I like the detail right there. It's just not as good as some other ones, but I like this figure. And the translucent weapons are really nice. And he comes also with weapon storage. That's the other thing. You can store all of these weapons. So if you want to have him holding the sword, no problem. You could peg this guy in the back. Don't want the spear? No problem. Give him the sword. Pop the spear. Just so many different options. And again, you get the sword here. Love this figure. Number 16, Manga Spawn from McFarlane. Alright, number 15. We're a quarter of the way there. And this is the first instance where it's a little more, the lines are a little more blurry. So we have the Phantom. Now this was my pick for best NECA figure. Now, and when I looked at the NECA category, I excluded horror and I excluded TMNT because they're gonna have their own spots. So this was like Defenders of the Earth, Gargoyles, The Boys, like Back to the Future, anything that fit into that sort of category. Uh, that's what the Phantom is representing. Now, when they announced Defenders of the Earth Phantom, I was like, cool. I love that we're getting like a 1/12 scale Phantom. I love the design of this character, even though it's quite basic and it's quite silly. There was just something always interesting to me about this design, and this was the one I wanted. And I skipped out on Defenders Phantom because I knew we were getting this guy, and I love this figure. I just love the way he looks. I love that he comes with the proper guns. You know, again, Defenders, he had the laser guns. I don't like that. I want Phantom with the 2 pistols. You got the ring sculpted on there. Looks great. Face sculpt is great. For me, Bronx and Demona. Last year in this spot, I had Goliath, and he was number 1. Bronx and Demona just weren't really hitting it for me like that. And I didn't get Hudson. I don't even know if Hudson, he might have just squeaked in 2022 for some people, but I didn't get him. But yeah, for NECA, they did a lot of stuff. They put out a lot of nice figures. I also should mention that a Predator will also have its own category, so I didn't include any Predators in this. But this is a nice figure. This is my dream Phantom, and NECA made that dream a reality. Had to have him on the countdown. Again, lack of sculpting keeps him from being a little higher up, but this is still just an excellent figure, and I'm really happy that they checked this box for me because I love the Phantom, love the design. I know we had other Phantoms, but not 1/12 scale. This is great. That's why he's number 15, representing NECA, the classic comics Phantom. All right, real quick before we get on, I just want to. I know the LOL board. I get it. It looks a little unprofessional. Again, this is sort of a guerrilla setup because I'm in the process of transitioning from one studio to another, and this is the best I could do for now. Really wanted to get this video out so we can move on from that. And again, I don't need to. We can just establish now that I get it. It looks silly having the LOL board in the background. Moving on, we have our 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. I already can't remember. 14 from Lord of the Rings Select. We have Sauron. This was a Build-A-Figure, and this is the best. This is my best for Diamond Select. So Diamond Select was basically like the Lord of the Rings, Avatar. I don't remember if we got any other Select figures. Cobra Kai. So I looked at those 3 lines together. Again, neither one of them was big enough to have their own, so I lumped those 3 together. I picked the best. It's Sauron, and he is so nice. The sculpting on here is top notch. You can see he's got the ring, just looks great. Articulation a little bit low, but still pretty good for a Diamond Select figure. You can get him in some decent poses. Soft goods cape. Weapon looks nice. The weapon could be a little better. I get it's his weapon from the movie, but I wish maybe it was a little bit bigger. Wish maybe he came with a sword. But look at the sculpt on the helmet. This is just great. This is awesome if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. Now, the big problem here for me is that this was a Build-A-Figure. I wish this was just a standalone figure. I think if it was just a standalone release, it would have had more appeal to people outside of the Lord of the Rings fandom, because you could say this is just a cool knight. You can have him fighting your Witcher. But unfortunately, we don't really have that option because he was a Build-A-Figure. You're not buying all the figures just to get this guy, just to have him fighting somebody else. Also, the fact that they only released 2 figures at a time, it took a really long time to complete them. That hurts him a little bit. But at the end of the day, I don't care. He's a big, scary Black Knight. I think he looks awesome. Number 14 from Lord of the Rings, Sauron. Just what more could you ask for? I think he's great. I think, and this is a real, just a real nice display piece, real nice shelf piece. I just love this figure so much. All right, number 13. He doesn't even fit in frame. From Jurassic World, we have the Dreadnoughtus. This is the best I could do to get him just fitting in frame. I love this figure. This is Mattel doing Jurassic World at its best, just giving us a big, awesome dinosaur. Last year, I didn't even have a Jurassic World category because there just simply wasn't enough. I just simply didn't buy enough to have them in contention. But this year we got the new movie, so of course we were gonna get toys. And this figure is just so good. I got them early from Amazon Japan. I know a lot of people did. Some people missed out, or some people weren't aware. But yeah, I got them early on. I got them on from Amazon Japan. This figure is just great. Paint sculpt is so nice. Nice texturing on the skin. So he's got the official, that's what it's about, right? Like if you collect Jurassic World, it's all about that seal of approval. This figure is just nice. Obviously, I'm not going to take any points for articulation. He doesn't need to be super articulated, but he does have some articulation. He has a swivel in the neck, and the head kind of swivels, and the mouth opens and closes. But yeah, we have the Dreadnoughtus. I had to have him on here. Big dino. Who doesn't love a big dino? Certainly not me, for sure. And I don't do the Hammond collection. I know that T-Rex is on a lot of people's list. I don't do the Hammond collection. I like the Legacy collection of the Jurassic World stuff. But yeah, this is definitely a nice one. Definitely knew I was going to have him on here. And he's just a big, scary dinosaur. And it just makes me smile. Like when I talked about Caesar, sometimes it's just about how a figure makes you feel. And like I said, he just makes me smile so much. Dreadnoughtus, number 13, representing all of the Jurassic World franchise. All right, and coming in at the number 12 spot, representing Marvel Legends, we have Morg. Of course, Morg came with the HasLab Galactus, which I did not get. I got Morg on the aftermarket. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, this is just a nice figure. Sculpting is great. I think the face sculpt is awesome. If I'm picking out a couple flaws, like I wish the axe was a little bit better. Could have been a little bigger. The figure itself could have been a little bigger, but I'm not mad at it. I think he still looks great. I almost had Toad on here. It was really close to... It really came down to it was either going to be Toad or it was going to be like Morg. And I went back and forth for a long time, but I just think Morg looks so good. As good as Toad is, I had to have him on here. Number 12 spot from the Marvel Legends, we have Morg. Yeah, just a nice figure. I love this guy. And we are at the number 11 spot. We are officially at the halfway point. Well, I think after this we'll be kind of halfway. But from Star Wars, the Star Wars, the Black Series, we have the Deluxe Dark Trooper. This is just another instance where when I saw this figure, I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's going to be on here. And I think this guy just looks so cool. I love how nice and glossy he looks. The sculpting here is top notch. And he's very, very nicely articulated. You can see he's got like butterflies, but they're not super noticeable. The articulation is all hidden for the most part, and it is a bit unfair. Like the articulation is hidden because the sculpt of the figure, but you know what? I'm not going to hold that against him. I think this is just a cool looking figure. Um, I don't really think he's deluxe. I don't think he warrants the deluxe price. Like, I think they could have fit him in a regular box, but again, I'm not gonna sit here and argue should he be deluxe or not, or I'm not gonna debate that. But yeah, this is a very cool figure, very nice design, nice and glossy. And as soon as we saw him in the show, the first thing I thought of was like, ding, action figure. And I'm glad we got him, and I'm glad we got him now. I feel like they put some haste on this one, and I think he looks great. There was some other stuff I was considering, like I thought of having Figure and Dan and the whole Cantina band, because that was like a really nice set. But the only thing, the articulation in some cases not as good as it should be, but this guy is nice. I love the Dark Trooper, and that's why he is number 11, representing Star Wars The Black Series. Again, Dark Trooper. All right, and at the number 10 spot, we have Panthro from the Thundercats. Now, this is representing Super 7. I did collect enough Super 7 brands that I decided just to give them their own category. I initially had them penciled in as miscellaneous, but I ended up getting a more healthy amount of Super 7 towards the end of the year. I love this figure, man. Sculpting is great. Paint is great. I love the real chain on the nunchucks. And this is a version 2 Panthro. I know we did get version 1 last year, but this is a version 2. Face sculpt is good, and of course it's Super 7, so he comes with a ton of different display options and hands and heads and all that. But yeah, I like this figure. I think Super 7 knocked it out of the park with Panthro. That's why I had to have him as my my number 10 favorite figure, representing Super 7. Again, Thundercats Ultimate Panthro. All right, and the number 9 spot, representing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a brand, like all the movie figures, all the comic figures, even Super 7 I lumped into there. We have Usagi Yojimbo. It's not always about the best figure. It's not always best. It is the best, the biggest figure. It's not always about the biggest, monstrous character. Sometimes it can just be more small, more simple, and I think that's where Usagi's charm is. The sculpting, as always, with this toon line, bar none. Looks like he was ripped right out of the cartoon. Comes with tons of different options. Comes with the folded down ears. Comes with the hat. He comes with the cloak if you want that stuff. Comes with additional weapons. So just a lot of different display options, and this is great because Usagi was such a fun character in the show and in the comics. And when this line sort of got started, it was one of those figures where I never thought they would make Usagi. I never thought we'd get there, but then we did, and when I saw him, I was blown away. I know it seems strange not having a turtle or a turtle character, because Usagi does come from his own property, but he's part of the Turtles universe. I like this figure so much. I did see this guy pop up on a couple of top 10s. So, I'm not alone, and sometimes it's not always, like I said, size doesn't always matter, and it definitely doesn't in this case, because Usagi Yojimbo is great. Paint, sculpt, accessories, articulation, everything's hitting here. That's why he is my number 9. He is my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pick. We have from NECA, Ultimate Usagi Yojimbo. And number 8, this is Motu Origins, Masterverse, all that stuff is included. We have Beastman, Deluxe Beastman. This is a great figure. I love this little extra furry piece. Now, if you want a more traditional Beastman, you could remove that, no problem. He also comes with like a lion's skin like helmet or headpiece, which I chose to kind of have the best of both worlds with Beastman. And I think he just looks great. He comes with this big, scary club. Comes with the whip. Whip I wish was a little better, but I like this figure, man. This This is a display piece. I think I'm gonna make a hot take here. I think this is the best Beastman figure available. I don't have the classics one, but I think this one is, maybe if I had the classics, but from what I've seen, I like this one the best. I think he looks awesome. Uh, almost now when I saw Beastman, I thought it was gonna be a toss up. I thought it was gonna be more of a toss up between him and Trapjaw, but Trapjaw just had a lot of elements that were disappointing, and that kept him out of the top 20. But Beastman, I think, is phenomenal. There was nothing else Motu I got this year that even came close to touching him, and I got Beastman very late. But yeah, it just looks awesome. Face sculpt is great. Like I said, I love this furry part. I love that you come with the headpiece if you want. If you want a more like modern Beastman, you can do that. And you could, if you want a more traditional Beastman, you could do that too. Accessories. Whip could have been a little better. It's just like a string. It's just like a string that they tied on. This should could have been a little better, but I'm not gonna hold it against him. So he's number 8 from the Masterverse. We have the deluxe Beastman. it's getting so crowded here. From Beastman to Beast, what number is this? 10, 9, 8. Number 7 from, again, coming in from NECA. We have the Ultimate Kessler Wolf. This is my representative for horror. All for Mego, NECA, anything that was horror. Kessler Wolf takes the cake. Like, just look at this face. NECA really hit it out of the park. A super articulated werewolf. Yes, please. This is another one where it has outside appeal, where even if you don't like American Werewolf in London, it has that other appeal where you could just get this guy, and you could just get this guy if you just want to have a big scary werewolf in your collection. Again, you put him fighting the Witcher. Put him, hey, how good? Put him next to Beastman, and maybe Beastman is sending him after He-Man. You could do whatever you want with this figure. You could do whatever you want with this figure. He is great. He is my favorite horror figure, the Kessler Wolf. Nothing horror-wise really even came close to touching him. Yeah, he's just so good. Hopefully next year will be a little prosperous for horror figures. I feel like this year we didn't get quite as much, but this guy is still great. I love him. So Kessler Wolf is number 7. And number 6, we have from the G.I. Joe Classified, we have the Deluxe Serpentor, the PulseCon Serpentor. This was the toughest choice I had, because there was so many good G.I. Joe figures this year. This was a benchmark year for the Classified. Like, Storm Shadow was really good. Mindbender was good, although he did have a couple issues, like Stalker, the Crimson Twins, Storm Shadow, Sergeant Slaughter. Just so much to choose from, but I had to pick Serpentor. Just the fun factor here again really got me. I just love how much different display options you have, and I love how much different accessories you have. And I just love how he looks, and the fact that we got the Air Chariot or the Sky Chariot really puts him over the top too. I know that's unfair to compare to something like Storm Shadow, but he's just great. I had to have him on here. I knew it was going to be a tough choice, but again, I think the fun factor got me, and once I opened this figure, I knew exactly what it was. I knew he was going to be here. So from G.I. Joe, number 6, Classified Serpentor. All right, and starting off the top 5, we have my pick for favorite import. Lately, I've been very selective when it comes to imports, but as soon as I saw this buzz, I knew I had to have him. I knew I had to have him on here. Say what you will about the Lightyear movie. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but this is just such a great figure. You come with so many different accessories, so many different display options. I love having a nice, super articulated Buzz Lightyear. Again, this is from SH Figuarts. I love this figure. The only other thing that kind of came close to edging him off was the Figma Nezuko. I did also quite like that figure a lot. But Buzz was just, the different accessories and the different display options just slightly put Buzz above her. And again, I didn't buy a lot of imports, but I knew as soon as I saw this guy, as soon as he was announced, I knew I was gonna have to get him. The only big flaw, and it's nothing against the figure, I wish that he just would have come with a little socks. Even like the Mattel, even like the basic ones, you got socks. But if we're just talking about figure, paintwork, yes. Articulation, yes. Sculpting, yes. Articulation, yes. This Buzz has everything. Minor, maybe there is a few. Some people has a few QC issues, like maybe for some people the arm popped off. Mine has no problem with that. And yeah, as far as imports, I think this Buzz was just as good as it gets. And that's why he is my number 5 pick. My import, representing my import category, we have Buzz Lightyear from SH Figuarts. All right, and taking the number 4 spot, we had a figure that was almost gonna be my pick, my representative for horror, but I ended up getting enough Predators that I could give them their own category. We have Ultimate Stoneheart. Now, anytime you give me a big monster, you're already doing something right. Sculpting, he just looks awesome. Articulation is pretty good. Sculpting is great. He comes with some awesome light up effects, and he just looks so good and menacing. Again, big monster is always, forget Serpentor there. Just pretend Serpentor is not even there. Like I said, it's starting to get full here. But yeah, he's just so cool. Again, this was a last minute addition, and I love this figure. This might be my favorite Predator. The light up effects are really cool. I'm not going to show them now because it is quite bright here, but yeah, Ultimate Stoneheart. He is representing the Predators in my top 20, and he has taken the number 4 spot on the top 20. All right, and number 3, Mezco Crow, the Crow. I did buy 3 different Mezcos this year, which barely enough to have its own category. I will probably retire the Mezco category for next year, because as they move more into like Rumble Society, I move away. But you know, I'll still buy Mezcos, but they might just get slotted in miscellaneous. But anyway, I digress. Wow, what a figure. Soft goods here are amazing. The soft goods trench coat looks awesome. You know, it looks like real leather, and that's where Mezco does it. That's where Mezco hits it out of the park when it comes to like any kind of character that wears traditional clothes like this. The Constantine is really good, which again, Constantine I almost had for the DC, but I didn't want to have 2 Mezcos. And then I didn't want to have 2 separate Mezcos, so I chose to pick the Multiverse. I didn't want to have 2 DC figures, so it could have been the Crow, it could have been Constantine. I did get Conan, but I never got him. I paid for him. My order ended up getting canceled, and I was never able to get him. But so many different display options, so many fun accessories. Sculpting is good here, and like I said, any cloth character, Mezco is automatically gonna knock it out of the park. We'll probably be seeing Dick Tracy next year at this time. We're gonna be probably talking about Dick Tracy. But yeah, what a phenomenal figure, and just a great. This is it. If you get this figure, you don't ever need to buy another Crow. Nobody has made any Crow figures that even come close to being on this level. And like I said, so many fun accessories. But the trench coat, almost take the figure out and take the accessories out and just have this cloth trench coat on here, because that's how good it is. I love this figure. Number 3 from Mezco, my Mezco pick, the Crow. And number 2, Storm Collectibles Kintaro. My God. Now this is my pick for best video game figure. I chose to not give Storm Collectibles its own category because the only Storm Collectibles figures I buy are the Mortal Kombat. So this is best video game, like anything Jazzwares, like Nintendo or Halo Spartan Collection. Anything that's a video game property, I'm lumping into this category. I had to have Kintaro on here. There was one year that I didn't get Goro in time, and he couldn't be on there. And I always regretted it. I wasn't gonna make the same mistake with Kintaro, and this figure delivers. Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat line is great, but what they actually nail, and they nail this better than anybody, is delivering big articulated monsters. Goro, Kintaro, Motoro, all that stuff. I love it. I love all the different heads, so many different hands, and four, come on, man, 4 articulated arms. It's just, I just love it so much. I could sit here and say great things about this figure all day. Fun factor, it has a fun factor, it has a sculpt factor, accessories, everything. So yeah, I knew he was going to be on here, and he was very, very close to being number 1. Didn't take the number 1 spot, but number 2. Storm Collectibles Kintaro. Yeah, like if we're talking video game figures, again. Nothing even came close to being on par with Kintaro. And another one, I almost gave him the miscellaneous spot, but then I made the last minute switch to just having video game be its own category. But yeah, Storm Collectibles Kintaro, get this figure. Even if you don't like Mortal Kombat, just get him to have him fighting anybody else, because yeah, this is just amazing. This guy makes me smile so much. All right, and we are at the number 1 spot. And you know, if you're a regular viewer of my channel, maybe you're counting down the categories. Maybe you're counting down, maybe you're not. Maybe you're thinking there is something that he collects that's missing, and I knew it was gonna be this figure at number 1. Nothing else was gonna be number 1, and you could maybe some people will say it's not fair, but it was a figure that was available to buy. It was always gonna be my number 1 from Transformers. Transformers taking the number 1 spot. It is Victory Saber. I knew it was. I knew the entire year it was gonna be this. There was nothing that was gonna be even close to touching the number 1 spot. Victory, yeah, like I said, Kintaro, but I knew it was gonna always be Victory Saber. This was a HasLab figure, which I know some people, you could maybe debate, is it fair to have a HasLab figure? The way I look at it, it was available for purchase. You could get it if you wanted to. It wasn't like so I'm throwing them in here, and it wasn't something like Galactus where it was. I think it was just too big or too outside the realm of you can't compare it to anything else. This is just awesome. I love the paint. I love the bright colors, accessories, sculpting. Everything is done to perfection here. Now I know, can we focus? I know there is some minor QC issues. Mine is not that bad. Mine doesn't have that many QC problems. But yeah, I just cannot stop gushing about how good Victory Saber is and how much I love this figure. And there is something to be said about the whole concept of HasLab, where it is a fun communal experience. So he definitely gets points for that. But like I said, Victory Saber was really always going to be my number one. There was never any consideration for anything else. All the different modes are great. Like the jet mode is great. You could have them be Victory Saber, or you could de-transform them and you could have Victory Leo and Star Saber. You could have two separate characters. Just great. I love this figure so much. Probably one of my top 10 favorite action figures that I own. And like I said, he was always going to be. I know I'm repeating myself a lot. We're late in the video, so cut me some slack. But yeah, it was always going to be him. He was always going to be number one. I love this figure so much. HasLab Victory Saber. Transformers taking the top spot on my top 20. Yeah, there you have it, everybody. There is my top 20 figures from 2022. What an incredible year. What an incredible year for action figures, and this might be my favorite of all my top 20s or top 10s. Let me know in the comments which one you think was your favorite, or let me know if there was any that you thought should have been higher or you thought should have been lower. But yeah, I'm super happy with this, and just a phenomenal year of collecting. This was really the year of GI Joes. I think GI Joe, I think, could have almost any GI Joe could have got that slot, but yeah, just Serpentor in the last minute cut above. There is some instances where Mezco, I don't know. I think Mezco next year might sort of just get lumped into miscellaneous because I don't buy as many Mezcos, but I sort of look at it as if I buy multiples and they're different properties, then I include it. That's why I included the Crow in here. And let's say, for example, even though I buy multiple Storm Collectibles figures, they're all Mortal Kombat. And I could have just had Best Mortal Kombat, but there was really only two, so there wasn't a big enough number to justify it. So that's why I just lumped all the video game stuff together. Again, same with Super 7. I got many different, I got Turtles, I got the New Japan, I got the Disney. I had 4 different properties represented in Super 7. Yeah, the miscellaneous. So miscellaneous. I gave it to Caesar off the top of my head. I don't know really what else could have kind of fit in the miscellaneous category. But basically, miscellaneous was anything I looked at where I'm just buying this one figure. I'm not collecting Planet of the Apes. It's not going to be a line. Uh, I guess like Walter White, even though I didn't get him this year, or like the Dark Tower, like I got the Gunslinger, but that's really the only one. It's just that sole representation. So I gave it to Caesar. Again, with can't the Lunar Wolf Ranger is hiding behind Dreadnoughtus. Again, like with the NECA, I split NECA up into 3 categories. Like I had horror on its own because I collect horror from multiple different properties. Same with the Turtles. Like I collect the NECA and the Super 7, and there was just enough Turtles that they could be their own thing. That's why I gave it to Phantom. So Phantom was like Defenders of the Earth, Back to the Future, The Boys, all that stuff. I just fit in the NECA category. Gargoyles. And then, yeah, wrestling, again, I just had Drew McIntyre because wasn't really enough. It wasn't really enough for AEW to give AEW their own category. And then, like, last year, I really liked Orange Cassidy and I liked Luchasaurus. They sort of shared their own spot. But this year, there wasn't really anything AEW that I sort of thought about. Knew it was going to be Drew when I was looking back. Drew was an early release, but I had so much fun with that figure at the time. And again with Sauron, with the Diamond Select thing, I'm doing 3 different Diamond Select lines. Like I'm collecting the Diamond Select, the Lord of the Rings, the Cobra Kai, and the Last Airbender, and obviously the odd Marvel Select. So I just lumped them all together. With McFarlane, the bulk of McFarlane I collect are either Spawn or DC. I do get the My Hero, but I think like we only got two My Hero Academia figures this year. You can see them both right there. It's Hawks and Overhaul. I thought that line was over for the most part. So I didn't really think to have a McFarlane category, and you can see I got some Avatar figures, but they came in so late that maybe I could have added enough category. I could have added another category where it was just McFarlane, but the only things I really would have been looking at are Hawks, Overhaul, and Jake Sully, and you can pronounce that name however you wish. Um, I guess I could have done it, but really Hawks or Overhaul. There's hasn't been really anything in the My Hero line, so I just opted to keep them separate. I did get Minoru right there, so I could have had him for Storm Collectibles. He could have been part of the Storm Collectibles category, but I didn't open him yet. I'm waiting to open him because Ian, my very good friend Ian, and we both got a Minoru, so I thought maybe it would be fun if we kind of hang out and we'll open them together. Um, but yeah, so overall, like I said, imports was another one. I was very selective when it came to imports this year. Like I got Buzz, I got I think there was like maybe an Attack on Titan figure I for sure got the Nezuko. But again, I was very careful when it came to, I'm very careful when it comes to imports. I guess we actually did get a Lemillion and Endeavor also this year. Endeavor was pretty nice, but not really that nice. So it was just easier to have Spawn and McFarlane be together. But yeah, for imports, I had the Buzz. Nezuko is really nice too, but I just think Buzz is really nice. And I guess Buzz could have been miscellaneous. I could have fit Buzz in the miscellaneous category because I didn't buy any other Lightyear figures. I guess I suppose he could have been like best Disney too, and I could have looked at the Buzz and the Super 7 and the Gargoyles. Maybe I'll have a Disney category for next year, but this year I decided to give Buzz a spot, and then I thought about having a best anime figure category. I thought about having a best anime figure, but again, I don't buy as many anime figures, not non import anime figures, and like, how could you can't really compare a Figma to like a McFarlane if we're just talking like anime. Felt weird having them in the same category. So I don't know. I'm just trying to give you guys a peek into my thought process a little bit. So yeah, I just decided to give Buzz best import. And yeah, amazing year. Amazing year for figures. Super happy with this, and I hope you guys are happy with this countdown. Like I said, feel free to let me know if there's anything you think should have been higher or lower, or is there anything on here that you think should not have been on here. And thank you guys so much. I'm backlogged on got a whole bunch of hauls and unboxing videos that I'm a little bit behind on, but hopefully I'm gonna get this video out for you guys, and then hopefully get some of those. uh Zarbon, I'm looking at him right there. Zarbon is another one that maybe could have been on there, but I'm pretty happy with Buzz. Pretty happy with Buzz for import. But yeah, thank you everybody again. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your continued support. um if you're like a regular viewer, I do so much appreciate you. And if you're a new viewer, hopefully you like what you see, and hopefully you come back for the next video. But nah, I've rambled on enough. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a most amazing morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. And as always, I have been Matitude22. This is my top 20 figures of the year 2020-22. And you've been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm just repeating myself. Have a good one, and bye.